If you don't treat the Africans fairly, United States is going to see itself slowly losing ground to China, to Russia, to all other nations, because without respecting the Africans, without treating the Africans as equal, without understanding that exploitation and abuse of Africa simply cannot continue. This meeting, this summit, is going to be yet another gathering with no outcomes, no deliverables until the next summit. I'm sorry, but the disrespect of the Africans is at the bottom of it all.
I want us to watch this interview by one of the greatest Pan-Africanists of all time, Dr. Arikana. And please, you can join the conversation by leaving us your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. I believe that she has been an outspoken African leader and she has done her best to unify the continent. She has spread more light to so many things that we did not even know were happening. So it is thanks to her that I personally knew how much France was taking from its former African colonies. She is an inspiration to Africa. So let's hear what she has to say.
What really is behind the failure of effective engagement with Africa is the disrespect of the Africans. That's where the problem begins. If we cannot accept, if the United States cannot accept Africans as equal partners, if the United States, for example, let's look at this particular meeting, this particular summit. There was no defined agenda. There has never been defined agendas whenever they meet with African countries as individual countries. It's always the United States setting the agenda, the United States setting the policies, and the United States telling the Africans about the policies. That is no way to have any meaningful engagement.
If you remember clearly, I made a previous video where I talk about the Africa-US summit. And I said that I do not believe anything is going to come out of it. In fact, the title of the video was Failed Promises, because what America do and what America has always does is just promise money. I'm going to give this billion, that billion, to this, to that, to that. And at the end of the day, sometimes I don't know if we end up getting the money or not. But most of the times, anything hardly get done. You hardly see any significant progress between America and Africa. So it's like they call for these giant seminars and they talk, and then no one walks the talk. After a few years, everything just kind of die off. And I don't get the point. I don't really understand why things has to be this way. Like Doctor was saying, there isn't any clear agenda on these meetings or about what is going to be discussed in the meetings. They just invite the African leaders and they tell them, we are going to discuss this, this, and that. And do not ask them what they wish to talk about. It's like your friend calls you for a dialogue. That, come, let's have a dialogue. And before you get there, your friend has prepared everything that you guys are going to talk about. Your friend did not even consult you about what problems you were facing. Your friend took it upon him or herself to do everything on your behalf, to decide on what to do and how to do it on your behalf without even consulting you, and then tell you that this is what we are going to be talking about, which I believe concern you. So it's always like that. They go ahead, they draft out the plans, they do everything, they send the invitations, and then the African leaders just walk in and participate without any consultation, without even knowing if what is to be discussed is of great importance to the African countries. That is what I don't get. And then they will come out and say, we promised 10 billion in aid. We promised 50 billion in aid. Like, when has aid ever solved a problem in Africa? If aid were to be the solutions to Africa's problem, won't they be solved by now? Because I'm quite sure we've received more than enough aid from the West. I'm quite sure of it. But still yet, we are still underdeveloped. We are still starving. We still go hungry every day. We cannot sustain ourselves. Why? I don't know. And why do our leaders just run to the meetings? I don't know. But let's listen to what Doctor has to say. I believe she is more experienced in issues like this because, like I said before, she was the former AU ambassador to USA and she did a lot. She spoke a lot on issues like this.